How are you doing?
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
You got about a minute and want to take a look, because I'll be asking you questions, so I hope you've all answered them.
Yeah, take a good look, and then make your way to a seat. I want to welcome all of you all. I'm Martha Noah from here at K-State Olathe. I'm K-12 Engagement Coordinator. And I also need to introduce the fellow on the third row, Dr. Elmore. Please stand up. Dr. Elmore comes from Manhattan, as well as our guest speaker, Dr. Carpenter. Dr. Elmore has a particular interest because he is with the College of Vet Med and deals with a lot of students. Associate Dean for Admission. So there's some information about admissions out on that back table, along with some more printouts of the whole lecture series, and glad that you guys made your way here today. So I want to introduce to you, this is Dr. Carpenter, and his title is right there. So I'm going to just let you take the show away.
Very good. Well, welcome. So, what years are you guys in?
Freshman,
Senior.
graduate,
Sophomore.
junior, sophomore.
Junior.
Father.
Which one?
This one.
This one.
Yep.
Very good. So that means you probably know more of these answers then, so I'll be asking you.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so I'm Dr. Jim Carpenter. I'm a professor of zoological medicine at K-State. And again, I'm excited to be here and appreciate your interest. Initially, I got my bachelor's in wildlife from Cornell University, and then my master's in wildlife from Oklahoma State, and then my veterinary from Oklahoma State as well. So I do want to ask you a few questions, at least, if you all have looked at them, since I transported them all the way from K-State and put them out. So some of you look very industriously, others just like walk by. So we'll see how good. What is the significance of this? Nobody knows. That's a hard one. That was a foreign body in a mountain lion. Okay, this is hose that was chewed on. What is this in the corner? What is this? Does anyone know what this is?
I'm not sure on that. Baleen.
Baleen, good job. So this is baleen made of keratin. What is baleen? This is basically the teeth of the blue whale. Okay, so these can be 8 to 10 feet long. You probably have found these around your yard somewhere. What is this? Antler, white-tailed deer. Is that bone? Bone. What is this? Ostrich egg. Okay. What is the largest bird in the world? The ostrich. Where are they from?
Australia.
From where? Australia. What bird produces the smallest egg proportional to its size? The ostrich. What is this? What is this? Well, look at this. Does anyone know what it is? What is it? What is it?
Is it elephant hair
Elephant hair.
in a friendship ring?
No, it's a bracelet. Got South Africa, but it's elephant. Very good from the tail. What is this? This is really cool. I don't know if you all looked at these or not. What is this? Ostrich. It's related to the ostrich. This is emu. Why is it emu?
Because it's like connected to or something.
So give that to them as a souvenir.
Ooh, there's more prizes.
So all these, they have one main feather and two feathers come out of it. Makes it very unique in the bird world. What is this? It's a type of antelope from Africa, Sahara. Do you know what it is? Good try. Adax. What is this?
That one I had trouble with.
Is it hair?
Yeah.
It is hair. From what? It's the longest hair of any animal. Tail hair of, ready for this, giraffe. What is this? Don't look at this. What is it? What is it? It's an egg from what? It's not a snake, but that's a good try. Who's alligator? It's very good. It's a crocodile, a Nile crocodile. Excellent. And you can't distinguish from the alligator. What is this? Skull or what? What do you think? You were a teacher. What do you think it is?
Type of monkey. I guess.
No, it's not.
It's a carnivore.
Like a coyote.
There's a seal. No, this is a seal. It's a harbor seal.
Oh.
What is this one?
Oh,
It's a dolphin. It's a dolphin, and they're related to what? Whales. Excellent. What is this? This is an alligator. This is a crocodile. What is this? We have these in western Kansas. It's a pronghorn. They call it antelope. It's really not, but it is a pronghorn. And then,
did you skip the last one?
I must have skipped something.
Yes.
So is this alive or dead? What do you say? Dead. Well, it's really sort of neither in a way. This is the exoskeleton of a tarantula. Okay, there's many species of tarantula. I think it's like 200 of them. And as they get bigger, they molt out of it, and they live in another form. You know. So it's their exoskeleton. What is this? You have this in your body.
Oh.
Not this large.
Like a gel.
Hey.
What?
Tell.
Oh my gosh. There's a patella of what? Come on. Large.
Horse. Equine.
I wouldn't have a horse here. Some African, very large.
Oh, giraffe. Yeah. Giraffe.
Elephant.
Elephant.
Elephant. What are these?
Quiet.
What kind of porcupine? African. It's not ours. It's not the North American. The North American is very small. These are very sharp. Lastly, what is this? Snakeskin. What type? You're going to get one right. Not an anaconda. Ball pythons don't get that large. So ball pythons get maybe 6 or 7 feet. Anaconda is the largest snake in the world. Okay. This is a very large snake. This is the Burmese python. So the Burmese python, which I will show you a picture of, the females can be 18 feet and males 15 feet. So you guys did pretty good. So how many of you would be interested in going to vet school? I assume all of you, right? Okay. How many people, if you have a choice, would be interested in working with either exotic animals, wildlife, or zoo animals? Show of hands. And you do good. All of you, excellent. So let me tell you about veterinary medicine. Veterinary medicine is the most, I think, exciting of the fields that you can integrate, because you have so many options in what you can do. Okay, you can work in small animal, you can work in large animal, you can work in academia, you can work in research, and you can switch and change, right? Because you were in practice initially, and I was in practice a short time, then I was in research full time with endangered species, and now I'm in academia. So we have this opportunity to change as our interests change. So I think you guys are doing well on your goals. But I brought this friend. Yeah. What is this? Is it alive? real?
No.
What is it? It's not a beaver. This is a brush-tailed possum. So the brush-tailed possum is an endangered species in Australia. It's uncommon. And they introduced it into New Zealand, okay, like 1860. And what happens when you introduce species? They either die out or they really get popular. This one overpopulated the two islands. Got to the point there were like 60 to 70 million of them throughout New Zealand and the islands. They became a pest. So now they harvest them. They're trying to eliminate them because they're not native there. And then they sell them to Yankees like us as souvenirs so I can show them to people like you. So that's pretty cool. So it's a brush-tailed possum. Very cool. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the cool and exciting opportunities I've had, and hopefully if you enter veterinary medicine, someday you'll be putting on your own show as well. Great diversity, over 60,000 species of vertebrates, okay? Obviously we don't see that many. I don't know how many you see in practice, maybe a couple of hundred exotics, maybe less than that. But you see the diversity. So when I graduated, I was one of a handful of people in the country interested in wildlife. Now, everyone's interested in wildlife. So I'm very fortunate that I came up when I did. But this is the Patuxent Wildlife Research Center. It's the largest wildlife research center in the world. When I was there, we had almost 200 employees, and I was in charge of the endangered species program. And our role was to propagate endangered species, including the whooping crane, the Andean condor, Mississippi sandhill crane, bald eagle, Aleutian cannon geese, and other species. And so I did that for 15 years before I was lured to the great state of Kansas. The only one I want to show you is the bald eagle. So the bald eagle was an endangered species for many years, and you know why? You want to tell them why?
Well-known side effect, and this is why we talk about One Health. One of the things that we used in the 60s to obliterate the mosquito because of malaria and other mosquito-borne diseases was DDT. That was a very effective chemical. What they found as a side effect, it made their eggs, the female eggs that would be laid, would be so brittle or soft. It affected the thickness of the shell and the consistency of it. They'd sit on their eggs and they'd break.
Exactly.
So they squash their own eggs. So you have less offspring.
So she's absolutely right. So DDT, which is a chlorinated hydrocarbon, got into the food chain, into the bald eagle. How to get to the bald eagle? It went into the water system. What do these guys eat? Fish. 75% of their diet is fish. And then it has an adverse effect on the physiology, and they produce soft-shelled eggs, or eggs that become contaminated. This is really cool. So this is one of the eggs that we had. So we had the largest group of bald eagles in the world at Patuxent, and what we would do, we would pull their first group of eggs, like this. What did we do with them? Have any idea? Before we hatched them, we put them under something to incubate. We put them under Bantam chickens. So we took the endangered species egg, symbol of our country, and put them under Bantam chickens. And then once we pulled those eggs, the birds would recycle about 30 days later. So this is a bird that's chicks getting ready to hatch. And actually these photographs were in a news magazine called Newsweek, which you guys probably never heard of, I guess, because they stopped it around 5 or 6 years ago. Now, what do you think about these guys? This is 2 of our chicks, and they were put in the last nest in the state of New York, okay? This pair of birds were producing eggs, but they weren't hatching because of DDT, right? And so we went up there, we took their eggs out, and we put in 2 chicks, keeping our fingers crossed that the parents would accept them, and they did. So here we have, so here, these are the chicks as they're older, and this is the adult. There's no sexual dimorphism between the males and females, if you can't tell So this was pretty cool. So I had a chance to meet this individual. And there's a reason I'm showing this to you. So does anyone in the front row know who he is? This is me, by the way. Age can be very cool. So you guys, who is that? Second row. I figured you'd know. Third row. Oh, that's sad.
President. Was that
Leader of
president?
That's
America.
Ronald Reagan.
Not a president?
Yeah, that's President Reagan.
Okay.
And the reason I show it, first of all, it's really cool to meet the president, I have to tell you. Before I met him, they said, now, Carpenter, when you go up to him, he's sitting down. And I am standing over the president, and I'm yelling at him. They said, you got to yell at him. And I said, that's that because he's hard of hearing, but he was. He said, no, it's all the news media. People you probably haven't heard of it before, but Sandals and all the biggies were like 40 feet away or something like that. So I'm yelling at the president, holding this bird that's going to get him, kind of cool. But I presented the same talk to some high school kids in Manhattan. And actually they did like you did. They didn't know who he was. So I said, he's one of the most important people in the world at that time. You know what one of them said? Is it one of the Beatles? And I think, what is this generation coming to? Good grief. No, not one of the Beatles. So my claim to fame, and they didn't appreciate it, but it's still pretty cool. Yeah.
What all did you say to this?
He was president at the time, okay, and he was known for our generation as not being very ecological, okay, not having any knowledge or appreciation. He thought trees polluted, and so he was running for president for the second term, and he wanted to be seen, unfortunately, not with me, but with endangered species, so he could give the appearance that he's more ecologically oriented. So we talked about the release, the endangered species, why they're endangered, and then what was going to happen to this young. And this young was actually hacked into Olathe because it was released slowly, directly in the water. And then he signed this, or his machine signed it. Somebody signed it. That was cool. All right, and now we know that the bald eagle has made a comeback, and they're no longer endangered, which is really phenomenal. All right, so that is kind of how I got started, my initial job working in wildlife. At K-State, I work with exotic pets a great deal. That's probably about 60% of our work, and we teach. So I've taught now several thousand students. I've trained 40 interns and residents in zoological medicine since I came. But these are just some of the species that we work with. I did it again. And again. Trying to find this little thing. All right. What do we have here? Finch, rodents. What is this? This is close. It's a hyacinth macaw. It is the rarest of macaws. And should this be a pet? No, not really. Macaws really ought not be pets. Cockatoos really shouldn't be pets for most people. And one of you, I think it was you, mentioned this snake earlier, and that's a python. We also work on other reptiles. So what do we have up here? Bearded dragon. Bearded dragon, where are they from? Australia. Very popular, okay? And it's high on my list for a pet. If you want a good lizard, this is a cool one. Is an iguana a good pet? No, iguanas are not good pets, and they should not be pets, probably. What do we have here? Guinea pig. Citizen. Lots of species of citizens out there. What is this? A ferret. So you don't have to know classification, except if you take my course, you'll learn it. But I'll tell you the classification. Mustela pitorius furo. You're thinking, well, I don't really care. But you have to know what it means. And it means mouse-eating, stinky thief. That's what it means. So that's what you're going to get. Be prepared. There's 49 different breeds of rabbits in North America, okay, that are pets. And they all originate from the wild rabbit of Europe and Northern Africa. What is this one?
Sugar glider.
Sugar glider. Where are they from?
New Zealand. Carpenter, New Zealand.
No, you're getting closer though. They're the land of the emus.
Oh, Australia.
Australia. These are marsupial. So these are also pretty delicate pets. So you really have to know what you're getting into before you get these. Their diets are a little complicated. They're nocturnal. Okay, that means when you want to sleep, these guys want to play. So that makes it difficult. So be aware of that. Now, whenever you think of animals, domestic pets, you think of dogs and cats first, and I understand that. That's how most of us were trained. And when we think of bonding with animals, we think of bonding with a dog or a cat or maybe we have a horse. But let me tell you, you can bond with any animal that you have, anything that you love, and you can bond with any exotic animal that you have. But this is a very unusual case. Okay. This is a water turtle from Iowa. And this young couple had just gotten married. And they found this, and it was injured. They took it home, and they nursed it back to health. They decided to keep it, and they had a nice environment for it. Then they had a child, then a second child, and then a third child. So what do you hope happens to your children? You hope they mature and leave home. And they did, leaving them a turtle. And they love that turtle. That was now their last child. This turtle developed respiratory disease. And so if you develop a respiratory disease and you're a reptile, sometimes it can be challenging. Because their lungs are different than ours. Their lungs are like sacs, so they are. They can't cough, so they can't get stuff up. So they called us up. And they said, can you help us with the turtle? And I said, well, the prognosis may be guarded, but we'd love to work on it with you. They brought it down. We examined it. We got a history. We got some diagnostics done. We took radiographs, and it was very severe. So we treated him for a day, and unfortunately, it died. That's not the end of the story. This couple was very appreciative of what we did, and we were honored by that. The following week, we got this in the mail. They had a service of praise and thanksgiving for the life of their turtle. So this is what they needed for closure. They had a minister. They had a choir. Various songs. They had an organist, and then obviously auditors. So that is maybe a little excessive for most of us. But again, that's what they needed for closure. It just shows that you can bond with any animal, yes.
If they can't cough, like what kind of symptoms do they display for the respiratory?
Open mouth breathing, discharge from the nose. And for a turtle, their legs are moving pretty kind of rapidly because that's how they breathe. Because they don't have a diaphragm, so they're doing this. They're not eating. They're very listless. That's a good question. The work that we do also can be really exciting. Okay? You never know what's going to come through the door, as they say, through Pawn Stars. You ever see that? Yeah. So we don't know what's going to come through the door, what would we asked to work on. So this is a ferret, and this ferret came to us maybe 6 months ago now, and it had heart disease. Okay? The heart was beating too slow. The blood pressure was too low. So what did we do? We got our cardiologist and our surgeons involved, because most of the things we do at K-State, at least my are a real team effort, because there's so many specialties there. So what did we do? This is a radio. So this is for the answer. This is a radiograph. Okay, this is the head. This is the ferret. You see something in here that maybe ought not be there.
Is that like an electronic thing to help beat his heart faster?
Exactly. So it's a pacemaker. So this is a pacemaker that will go for many years, and that it will monitor the heart and make sure it beats appropriately. Pretty cool. This may be maybe the second or third time it's ever been used on a ferret. Neat stuff. All right, so this is a bird. This is a cockatoo. Over here is the head. This is a radiograph. Up here are the lungs. Here are the legs. What do we have here? Does it look like something you would know? What is it?
An earring.
It's an earring. An earring. So this bird was on someone's shoulder. Now, years ago, when I first talked about it, I said it was on a girl's shoulder. Now I can't say that anymore. It could be a girl or a guy anymore with an earring. So it was on someone's shoulder. Swallow this. This is now in the GI. And so this is what I did. I told the owner, but here's the guy. I said, look, I can do this surgery for like $800. If you want, but I'm going to have to tell your wife that this is not a real diamond. And it's not, because if it was a real diamond, this would be clear. I said, or I can charge you $1,200 and tell her it's a zircon. That's a joke, really. I really didn't do that. Anyway, this is a zircon. It's not a real diamond. I guess I would be careful in this video or something. Again, you never know what's going to walk through the door. This is the only case actually that is not mine. It's one of my colleagues elsewhere. This is a pine snake. Okay, so a pine snake, this is in Florida, and this snake was looking for eggs. And this farmer had chickens. And the farmer didn't want the chickens to keep laying eggs because they're getting debilitated. So what do you do to stop them from laying eggs? You can reduce the photoperiod, the lengths, and you can put them on, give them something to sit on, like light bulbs. So this snake was looking for eggs, swallowed what they thought was a light bulb, and I'm sorry, it was an egg, and it turned out to be 2 light bulbs, and then they had to do surgery for it. So you can see the radiography can be very enlightening. Now what is this? Now this isn't similar to the one back there. What was back there? Burmese python, Python molurus. This is a 6-footer, okay? This is a pretty cool snake. So it came to us on an emergency. And the story is this. The owner had this snake in a big cage. And it was on a bed sheet. That was the what we call substrate, what it lived on. And they fed it live hamsters. Well, anyone who raises snakes, to get into it, should really know you should not feed live bread, because sometimes you'll start chewing on the animal. But in this particular case, the owner put in a hamster, left, came back hours later, and the hamster was gone. Well, that's all right. So was the bed sheet. Full-size bed sheet. So 2 things could have happened. Either the snake ate it, or this little hamster put it on the shoulder and walked out of the cage with it. So we assumed that the snake had it. So they brought it into us for an emergency, and the first thing we thought about was surgery. And if you do surgery, it's stem to sternum, and it's a big deal for any animal, certainly for a snake. And then we thought, well, let's go ahead and try endoscopy. Okay? So snakes are really cool. Snakes are the only animal that we work with that you can actually intubate without any pre-anesthetic. Okay? You can take your tracheal tube, put it into the trachea of a snake without doing any type of pre-op procedure. Why is that? Because their glottis, the opening to the trachea, is right there. You open up the mouth, and there it is. Because that's how they breathe. If they're swallowing something, they can put their glottis outside their mouth. So we put a tube in, we breathe for them, and they go to sleep. Makes it very nice. Then again, I said it was a group effort, so I happened to bring in an anesthesiologist and internist, and said, let's go ahead and try to get out our little bed sheet. And it looked simple, but it really wasn't simple. It really probably took 45 minutes or so. So this is the endoscope that we're going to use right here, and that's the monitor, and that's our animal that is anesthetized. Now this is looking through the endoscope into the stomach of the snake, and you can see the bed sheet. So once we grabbed it, we wanted to pull it out. You got to pull it out very carefully because they have all their teeth are recurved. Okay, and the reason that happens is because when they swallow a prey item, a mouse, that mouse can't get out because all the teeth are curved back inside. So you don't want this bed sheet attaching to the teeth, and you pull it because then you could damage the mouth, get infection. So here we are pulling this out and pulling and pulling. We pulled out 6 feet of bed sheet from this little. So some people may think, hey, that's pretty good roughage. I don't know, maybe that's what you had in mind, but I think it was just it's incidental. And what happens here? So the snake wants the prey item, and the prey item is attached sort of to the sheet. And once the snake starts swallowing something, regardless of what it is, they usually can't stop. It's an involuntary reflex. So even if he doesn't want this bed sheet, it's going down. And this was one of my students at the time, and this guy is 6 feet tall. Like, actually, he's taller than 6 feet, about 6'2", very tall. So, again, a very unusual case. And we've had a lot of unusual cases, some really exciting things. And when you guys get into veterinary medicine, you'll have some of these opportunities, and you really got to appreciate them because they really make the work that you're doing really enjoyable, and it's a big service to the client as well. So this happens to be a gibbon. Now, what is a gibbon? Does anybody know what a gibbon is? Is that what? What? Not an 8, but you're getting closer. So what is it? Do you know what it is?
No, I'm trying to get it off. Okay.
So it is a primate, right? You're right, it's a primate. How many species of primates? 230 species. This is a lesser ape. There's only 2 species of lesser apes. Siamang, and this is the siamang. Okay? Siamang. So, what's wrong with this? Do you have any idea? Tell me what's wrong with this. We had an ophthalmologist involved. When I said siamang, it's a gibbon, sorry. Siamang and gibbons are the lesser apes. This is a lesser ape called a gibbon, white-handed gibbon. So he has cataracts. This animal developed cataracts at 3 months of age, and he's now about 1.5 years. So he's been blind for 1.25 years. Can't see anything. He's at a rescue facility, and they wanted to do surgery. So they brought him to us, we examined him, we brought the ophthalmologist involved, and they thought they could do it. And so we did, because this was like the only time it's ever been done in a lesser ape. We got a lot of attention on the news media. So the gibbon is now anesthetized. He's being monitored. All these are monitoring devices that we use. You get heart rate, blood pressure, temperature. That's what we do when we do anesthesia. Make sure it's safe and the animals survive and do well. So we're getting him all ready for surgery because they're going to do eye surgery. They're going to remove the cataracts. So now our ophthalmologists now are going to perform the surgery. Our anesthesiologist is making sure the animal stays asleep. This all has to be done through a microscope. because it is so small and so delicate. And this is the eyeball. Okay, that's the globe. You see how cloudy it is. You can't see through it. The lens is all opaque. Everything's opaque. So what they have to do, they have to make an incision in the eye, and they put an instrument up, and it's called a phacoemulsification, and it's like ultrasound, and it dissolves all the white material, it dissolves it, and then it sucks it out. Okay, so it really sucks out the lens, the inside of the lens. And this is when he came up with anesthesia. So this is the first time that this gibbon was able to see the owner, which is him. When I say owner, he's the rescuer. He's a rescue facility for animals that people can't take care of anymore. So he's a really a big heart, and fortunately he has a pretty good wallet too. So that's the first time that the gibbon was able to see him, and that is one of the photographers that flew in from North Carolina to film all this. And this is the ophthalmologist. So if you ever go to K-State, it's one of the 2 ophthalmologists that you'll have a chance to work with. It's really neat. It was really exciting. Now, the oldest case, it's like the oldest case in history, maybe. What do you think it might be? Do you have any thoughts? Any suggestions? Any votes?
This is something to deal with in Australia.
This has to do with what?
Something in Australia.
Well, no, Australia. Where are we at?
Egypt.
Egypt. This is the tribe. This is Egypt. What would be old in Egypt? It could be a mummy, right? So this is a 4,000-year-old mummy. And like I said, we're sort of like the Pawn Stars. You never know what's going to come through the door. This client called up and said, hey, I have this 4,000-year-old mummy. I want to know if it's intact, and I want to know if there's jewels in it. And I said, listen, you came to the right person. I have this pocket knife, and I can let you know in a minute what's inside it. And of course, she wasn't too excited about that. Of course, I'm joking, I didn't say that. But the animal is worth, at that time, this is up to me here, it was worth $20,000. So now it's probably worth $30,000. So, and that's the reason she's wearing white gloves, and she has others as well. So this is a falcon, okay, 4,000-year-old falcon. So what do you want to do to see if it's intact or if there's jewels? Huh?
Ultrasound?
Ultrasound probably won't help you. There's no moisture.
X-ray?
X-ray would do it. What might be even better to let you know if it's intact? What do you think? Any thoughts? What do you think you're in practice?
Radiology or what?
Well, it's a diagnostic tool for imaging.
What's that thing called? MRI?
MRI or CT.
CT?
CT. So we did a CT. So this is our friend. Again, really in good shape. We're 4,000 years old. This is the CT unit we use. Now, this is the only time we've ever done a CT on an animal at K-State that didn't require anesthesia. So what do we have here? This is the CT. I gotta make sure I do this thing right here. I always press the wrong one. Yep. Nope. I've mastered it. So if I asked you, it's the top one. Remember, it's the top one. All right. So this is a cross section of the CT of this falcon. What do we have here? Look at all these layers. You see that? That is linen. So that's what the Egyptians used. They would use linen. And they would then cover it with things like honey. and some other things. And so it would last forever. So far, 4,000 years. This is the cross section. This is the keel. Okay, keel. And this is internal organs, maybe a heart or something like that. This are long bones, and these are feathered follicles on the wings. So there's no jewels in it, okay, and there was some internal organs. Very cool. Now we're going to talk about, yes.
I got one question about that. Why would they use honey?
Because honey, nothing can live in honey in terms of bacteria, so it won't, nothing's going to degrade. And if you have honey in the shelf, you can keep it for hundreds of years. And so they use honey to cover the linen, and it'll last. Very cool. Because it's so much sugar and the osmotic pressures, nothing can survive it. So we do 3 zoos. We have done 3 zoos. We've done the Topeka Zoo, we've done the Rolling Hills Zoo, and now currently doing the Sunset Zoo, which is a great zoo. We are there generally twice a week. Anyone who comes to K-State takes our service. 2 days a week we're doing zoo animals. And it's always neat. So 3 days a week we're doing exotic pets that we've already described. 2 days a week usually. We're doing other cool things. So this happens to be some of our students. This is a tiger. How many species of big cats are there? What do you guess? $37, okay? And the tiger is the largest. And of all the tigers, which one is the largest? It's the Amur, what they used to call a Siberian tiger. So it's the largest. And this is an Amur or Siberian tiger. So this is one that we're going to do surgery on following doing a CT, trying to look at the internal organs to see if there's any problems with the liver or the kidneys. And again, when we go to the zoo, we take the students on rotation. So the students who take our rotation are pretty fortunate, I think, because they have a chance to work on very rare species. The students are doing the anesthesia. The students are doing the dentistry. And the students are doing the preventive medicine, getting blood samples, vaccinating. So it's once in a lifetime opportunity for these students. Even if the student is never going to be a zoo vet, still, these people are going to have a memory that very few people ever have that opportunity. We also have leopards there. So what kind of leopard? This is an Amur leopard. It's one of the rarest cats in the world. For a while, as of a year ago, there were only 60 left in the wild. 60. So they wanted to have a breeding program of the Amur leopard at the Sunset Zoo. Unfortunately, we had a male that was big and powerful and a female that was smaller. But this female was a bit of an old biddy, and she was very dominant and very dangerous for anyone and for the male. So the male always just had to stay in the corner, and so obviously the idea of having them successfully breed was not going to happen. So we finally had to send her out. We're hoping to get another female. What is this? Cheetah. It's a cheetah. What is the fastest land mammal in the world? It is the cheetah. What is the second fastest? No, and you saw it today. No. Okay. Well, the falcon is the fastest in dive. The pronghorn is the second fastest land mammal. So this is a cheetah, and this is an associate of mine from Wichita. He comes in, he does a lot of our big dentistry. So he's going to do a root canal, but he's taking radiographs. So our team will anesthetize the animal, and then he'll do the work with the assistance of our students. His name is Dr. Winter. We're certified in veterinary dentistry with a specialty in zoological medicine. Very cool. It's only like a handful of those folks in the country, so we're lucky we have them so close. What is this? Again, there's 23 species of crocodilians in the world. This is probably the smallest, but they're probably the meanest for their size. Anybody know? It's from South America. It's a caiman. So this is a spectacled caiman. They aren't very big, can be very dangerous. And one of my associates a number of years ago had the tip of his finger bitten off by these guys during our examination. So that's the reason whenever I'm there, I always have the students do the handling. I don't want anything to happen to me. They've served me well all these years. As you can see, the students tend to enjoy themselves when they're working on these unusual species. We have bears. What kind of bear is this? Yeah. So there's 8 species of bears in the world. This is the swamp bear. This is a primate. This is a colobus monkey from the Sunset Zoo. So this is one they were doing a routine examination. So all the animals at the Sunset Zoo, except for one, the chimpanzee, we do routine examinations every year, vaccinations, dentistry. This is a colobus, routine examination, getting blood palpated, and we felt a mass in the abdomen. This is a female, obviously, and it was on birth control. So this is a radiograph. This is a temperature probe and monitor. Over here is the head of the animal. Inside is another head. What do we have?
The baby.
We have a baby. We have a fetus. Pretty amazing. And it's near term. And so as a matter of fact, this colobus gave birth 2 weeks later. What color is their baby? What color is the colobus? It's black and white. Black and white. Very, very beautiful display. What color is the young? Huh?
Are they brown?
They're white for about 3 months, and then they get the black and white. So we were a little bit concerned, but there it is. They're really pretty cute. So this is a baby colobus at the Sunset Zoo. What is this? Chimpanzees. Okay, we said there are 330 species of primates in the world. What is the smartest? Chimpanzee. What is the most powerful pound for pound? Chimpanzee. What is the most dangerous? Chimpanzee. Which of all the animals I've ever worked with, and I've worked with a lot of them, do I really not look forward to working with one? Chimpanzee. Because they are so smart, so dangerous. One time I was darting one with my dart gun. He caught it in midair and threw it back at me. I'm serious. And all the other times they're throwing stuff at you too, but it's not nothing I can mention in mixed company. They're very loud, very smart. They're, again, 7 times more powerful than man. Just very, very hard to work.
They're more like aggressive than like gorillas.
Yes. They're not stronger because the gorilla is so much larger.
Yeah.
But these are much faster and smarter. So this is we have a nice collection of chimpanzees, and this is one of the. This is an interesting history. So we have an old female. Okay, this female was 55 years old. Right, 55. No chimpanzee has ever been born to an adult female that was over 48. So we were told by the specialists, they say, take her off birth control. Nothing's going to happen. So we did. 7 years after taking off birth control, something did happen. She became distended in the abdomen. I met with the zoo personnel, and I said, look, we have this old female, we all love her. I think we have a problem. I think she has cancer. I think the prognosis is very poor. So we had meetings and discussed it, because whenever I work with a zoo or anybody, I always want to make sure I have a buy-in. And one of my thoughts was euthanasia. I mean, obviously, we haven't confirmed what it is and all that, but eventually, that was the most obvious, to have this big distended abdomen in this old female. So we had everything ready for examination. We took radiographs, did an ultrasound. It wasn't cancer. It was a baby. Okay, 7 years beyond what they should be breeding. So she gave birth to the young. Okay, and that was pretty incredible. But because she was so old, she did not nurse properly, and this baby never developed. And so got smaller. So finally, my intern and I met with the zoo folks and said, we have to do something, we have to pull it, which is a big risk, because we have to dart the mother, and the mother is always with the baby. And if the mother falls on the baby, then obviously you could lose the baby. But they all agreed, we had to try. So we did that. But we had the biggest group there I've ever had at the Sunset Zoo. We had a lot of primate specialists from Oklahoma City Zoo. We had OBGYNs, people who examine females, come in to examine the mother. And we had 2 pediatricians come in to examine the baby. So everything went well. And they examined the baby. The baby could follow, the baby was a little bit slower than we want. The baby wasn't walking yet and should be running around. But cognitively, was doing pretty fair. So we just had to increase nutrition. We sent it to the Oklahoma City Zoo, where it was going to be raised with a foster mother, because they have a lot of chimpanzees there. That sounds great. Oops, so we had an oops. That's a problem with zoological. These little oopses. So the keeper that was keeping this chimpanzee, and you sleep with him, and you're with him full time, got too close to the potential mother, and the mother grabbed it and pulled off the arm. Mm-hmm. So now we have this small, little bit mentally reduced and functioning missing arm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they did surgery, and the animal was, eventually put back with that mother. And for the past 6 years, I guess, has been doing great. Gets around with one arm and is integrated with the group. Quite a history. So I'm going down there in February, and I'm going to show you the baby Siri and some pictures. So next time I come back, I can show you what he looks like. Lastly, so we talked a little bit about some of the native wildlife. We talked about exotic pets. We talked about zoo animals, and the last thing we're talking about is that whatever field you're in, you may have opportunities for international travel. If you have that, you should take advantage of it. To learn different cultures, opportunities to help other people, and to learn from other people, to me has been one of the best things I've ever done. I've been very fortunate. So I've been able to travel through Soviet Union several times, and Japan several times, and Asia and South America, 6 different countries or 7 different countries now, teaching. And this was this was cool. This was South Africa. So I was invited to go there to give, to help teach a course. And that's my wife, so she was invited as well. So now we are in South Africa, okay? And we are immobilizing a variety of species, and we're working with students. And the students we're working with are all veterinary students. And the group that I chose to be with were students from Australia. Let me tell you, if you haven't spent time with 11 crazy Aussie veterinary students, you're missing something, because they were just entertaining and awesome the whole 2 weeks. It was a great choice. We were with a program called Wildlife Vets. So, Africa, as you know, has been home to teeming thousands of vertebrate species. It's the largest group of vertebrate species anywhere in the world, formerly. Now, obviously, the number of people reduced. But it's kind of neat to be with these students. We're just walking around outside, and all of a sudden we see this sign. There's nothing you're going to see around here, I wouldn't think, it's Olathe, but beware of crocodiles and hippos. That's just kind of cool. Where we were staying with Wildlife Vets, they had 3 rhinos. And why did we have these? Because the mothers were killed. Okay, why?
Change it.
For poaching for the horn. Because the horn could be worth $60,000 or $70,000 or more. Okay? And for a lot of these people, that is a lot. For anyone, it's a lot of money, but certainly for people with very low income, it's a lot of money, and a lot of them risk their life for it. So these were three that we had a chance to work with. One of my first days there, we were going to mobilize a rhino. This was a white rhino. There's 5 species of rhinos in the world. This is the white rhino. And this one was caught in a trap by poachers. And it's a female. She's pregnant. She is darted, because what we wanted to do is to immobilize it and to examine the foot. Because again, the foot had a big laceration on it. So the animal is darted, and then it just stands up because they're so big. And they can be 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, and really potentially very dangerous, obviously. Look at this horn. And so once they're darted, and we're using some very potent drugs, they kind of stand there. And then we have trackers, and the trackers put stuff over the eye so they can't see. And that kind of calms them down. And then they put ropes on them. And then what they want to do is throw the animal down, put him down. And then once he's down, then I put an IV in to give him more drugs if needed, to basically make sure he's staying down. And then the vet that I was with examined the foot. And so this lesion, laceration, it was very extensive. It was 3/4 of an inch wide and 1/2 inch deep, all the way down. So he cleaned it up while I monitored anesthesia. Put some, topical antibiotic on and material to keep away flies as well. And then we reversed it. And once we reversed it in about 30 seconds, a little longer, 40 seconds, the animal was up. They can get up that quickly from these opiates. Incredible. So you want to make sure you're not around it when they get up. We also spent 4 days working with, what this is. It's not a wildebeest, but it's close. I think it is. What is it? Water buffalo. Water buffalo. It's a Cape buffalo. So a Cape buffalo is perhaps the most dangerous animal in some ways in Africa. Because when these guys want you or get mad at you, nothing stops them. We had one of these, it was a female, and had a gun, and they didn't like the truck that one of us was in. They attacked the truck repeatedly until it broke its neck. They're just relentless. Nothing stops them. So these were being darted because they were going to be moved to other sites. So this is the Cape buffalo. Again, very dangerous, very cool. But we also had some other really neat experiences. Giraffes, they're really giant. They can be 17, 18, 19 feet tall. Really cool. They have the highest blood pressure of any animal in the world. And they're also one of the most difficult and dangerous to immobilize, because when they go down, they can break their neck. So it's a real art on how to do that. It really takes a great team. So in this particular case, 2 of these were going to be darted, and they were going to be translocated to another site. So this is the vet that I was working with, and as long as you're in the truck, you can go pretty close to a lot of these animals. Your lions and everything, if you're in the truck, because they're used to that, for the past 100 years, so a long time. These vehicles, it's when you get out of the truck that they see you as a source of food. So this is the rifle that we use. It's the same type I use at K-State. And now he's darted. So again, you make sure he's calmed down, but he's not falling yet. And then you put ropes on him. When we do it at K-State, I have a cowboy there, and they lasso him and hold him to the neck as much as you can. These guys are very heavy, because you want the fall to be, well, they're never gentle, they're too big, but instead of being like this, you want them to be a controlled fall. Again, otherwise you can have some real serious problems. Now, once he's down, because it can be translocated, once they're down, I have students, I send the students in, they stay back, in case something happens. And so, we're holding the animal down. Then we blindfold him. Then we reverse it and we get him up. And once we get him up, he's blindfolded. Then he's led with ropes and everything else you can get into what they call a chariot. And this is the way they're going to translocate this giraffe to its other sites. Just a hoot. I mean, it's just an experience that I'll never forget. It's incredible. And these guys are really experts at the work they do in terms of immobilizing native species, translocating them, and providing medical care. We also worked on a number of other species. One night we went out and immobilized like 6 lions, just to check them for rabies. We did not immobilize any elephants, which was probably fortunate, but we did have a chance to see a lot of them. So elephants also, we have a chance to see them. They're just awesome. They made the experience pretty amazing. So even though we didn't immobilize them, I was just informed by the school maybe a month or two ago that I've been selected, whatever, but I'm going to go to Tanzania next July. I'll be spending 2 weeks in the Serengeti, the big wildlife area, and helping them, probably learning from them more than helping, immobilizing wildlife for 2 weeks with students, taking our students. This is the last. So, much of the scenery that we saw there was just pretty amazing, and this experience was awesome. This is one of the largest gorges in Africa. This one is 200 feet deep. And so what they do, they have what they call a swing. Okay, and I don't know if you can see it well, but I will show you the swing. This is the cable for the swing. And so right here to here is the cable that holds you. So I have survived a number of years by not doing stupid things. And that was my goal for this. I wasn't going to do anything crazy. I worked with all endangered species. I worked with incredibly large carnivores in dangerous situations. Nothing compared to this experience. And the only reason I did it, went on the big swing, was because these 9 Aussie students, they called me names. And they said, "Come on, old man, you can do it." And I said, "I can do that." And they got my tackles up. I said, I'll show them, which was the stupidest thing I've ever done, trying to show them that. Because they're young, they don't know any different. I'm older, I knew this is safe, this is not safe, this is very dangerous. So this is the gorge. And we went in twos, and she smiled the entire time. Other than this, I didn't smile at all. Because this is what they do. They have you stand on the edge, and you have to fall backwards. And this is not a bungee. Bungee would be okay, right? You know what a bungee is? You're going to say, "Ooh, that's cool." This doesn't give. You go down, and it breaks your back. And it's really, I really do think it's very dangerous. I think it's really unsafe. But I'm glad I did it now, because I can tell people how cool it was. But I would never do it again. Now look at this. You see this? I don't know how old these boards are. Okay, this is true. Before we went out there, they were hammering these things. Nails, well, that's a good sign. And you can't see it here, but you see it later. The cable they have is all framed. And so these guys were very nice and patient with me. They kept saying, "You got to step back." Well, I would put one foot back, they put the other foot back, bring this one up, and I did this for like 7 minutes. Sorry, I could not do it. Finally, these two big guys, they just, that was it. All right, no way to go. Otherwise, I'd still be there now. If they did that. And you can see the cable. And you can see the frame. And so it was really very scary. We went down 100 miles per hour, they said, for the 200 feet. Let's see, do this here.
Is it on the desktop? Did you transfer it to the
Yeah.
desktop?
No, I was here.
Okay.
You know how to, it's supposed to
It's on
come
the
right up.
desktop.
It's supposed to shine and it's supposed to come right up.
Shine that in there, is that what you said?
Oh,
So is it a movie within that black box?
yeah,
So can you move your mouse to the black box?
that's what it is.
Yeah,
Here's something else.
Yeah, go ahead, that's what it is.
and then you click it. There you go. There you go.
All right,
Okay.
conquer your fears. It's wonderful. This is just to show Copus and the Aussies that I can do it.
Any last words?
I hope not. I hope I have a lot more.
Right, you need your heels off. Heels off, heels off.
Alright.
Right. Okay, facing the camera. Facing the camera. Right, cool. Now you just lean back. Lean back.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, ball.
And so I probably shouldn't tell you this part of it, especially with the dean there. But so at the bottom, I turned to this gal and I said, "I think I owe you an apology." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "I think I may have said some words I shouldn't say." And she said, "Oh, Dr. Carpenter, you said some very bad words." Anyway, so if you guys have a chance, to go to veterinary school, find what option that you like, whatever field, whatever specialty is awesome. If you have a chance to do exotic animals or wildlife or zoo animals, you really have a chance to make some significant contributions. Strongly recommend it. Now, some of the things you work on, no one else has worked on yet, right? This is very rare. We haven't found this in Florida. This is my family, actually. This is my family. So occasionally you have some opportunities like this you certainly don't want to pass up or hear. This one was not very receptive to any veterinary care. Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming. I'm over a few minutes, sorry about that. But I did want to show you the specimens and give you some opportunities to see what opportunities there are in exotics, wildlife, and survival medicine. So I hope in a few years, I'll see you guys at the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. Any questions? Cool. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Next.